Alright, holy patch notes. This is insane. There's no way I'm reading through all this. I'm just gonna scroll through this. Anything that jumps out at me, I'm gonna latch onto it. Um, let's just go. We know about the new Challenge League, we've seen videos. I'm going by this is all the same stuff that's here every single league. Alright. All the new skill gems, we've seen all those. Okay, what's this? Gold Flask, we've seen that. Ward, we know about that. Iron Flask, grants additional ward and restores ward on use. Okay. So that's like an instant flask for ward. I wonder if this is a percent value or like a flat value ward, or if there's no limit to it at all and just fills it all back up. Okay, 2 new currency orbs. Don't forget to add these to your filter. 12 new div cards. 9 unique items. 1 designed by a supporter. 9 new equipment bases available in expeditions. We're probably not gonna get to see those. Hold on, we'll see. Lightning arrow, lightning strike, brand new effects. Visual explosion effect from Impulsa. Only a single visual for triple exposures. Microtransaction. Templar received audio dialogue for part 2 of Path of Exile. Okay. This is a huge change. The envoy no longer repeats himself once you have heard everything he has to say. That is amazing. Love it. Added audio for poison. Okay. Act 1 changes. Monster life. Up 46% roughly. Tapering down to the same amount in 83 plus maps. 84 level instances are strangely difficult. Monster pack size is buffed in later areas. Act 1 slightly reduced in the coast. That's fine. Bunch of new monsters. Brutus, new arena. Flash changes. Yep. Character balance. Base character evasion rating has been lowered. Characters no longer gain evasion rating per level. Game-wide poison does 50% more damage. 30% combined physical and chaos up from 20. Okay. Poison's going to be cool, I think. Sonic Ground no longer gives crit chance. Arcane Gym Tag on new skills. Prismatic Gym Tag on Elemental Hit and Wild Strike, so they're always going to alternate damage. Shield related skills. Gems now display their critical strike chance and attack damage at the top of the skill gem. Alright, specific skills. Ancestral Protector buffed. Ancestral War Retrieve buffed. Artillery Ballista buffed. Bane nerf slightly. Not at low levels. Barrage buffed. Blade Blast got gutted. Buffed on Blade Vortex, but still no unnerve. Blade Flurry buffed. Blade Storm buffed. Blood Rage. Life Cost. Okay. Body Swap increased AoE. Lower if consuming corpse. Yeah, it's roughly the same. Chain Hook, damage buff. Charge Dash, damage buff. Cleave, damage buff. Path, damage buff. Okay, so all these are getting buffed, but the support gem's getting nerfed. Cyclone buffed. Dash though, completely freaking gutted. This is stupid. I practiced leveling twice on Cold Dot Occultist, playing with Flame Dash, and it felt like she had shit in her pants. Because I didn't level it past level 1. I got no second win. I'm just like testing out how 3.5 seconds on Flame Dash is gonna be. And like, well, I can't adjust the cast time. It's ick. Ick. No. It feels so bad. Okay, discharge. Lightning damage went down, cold damage went up. Balanced it. Dominating blow, damage up. Double strike, damage up. Red banner, half the fortify effect as before. Only up to 50. Um, Dual strike, damage buff, earthquake damage buff. Phantasmal earthquake, quality change. Earth shatter damage buff, explosive arrow damage buff. This is kind of interesting. Fire burst got nerfed by a lot. Yeah, by a lot. Like rip. Firestorm gets a buff. Seemingly pretty substantial. Flame dash is like doo doo. Flame wall got nerfed. Flame blast get buffed. Flamethrower trap lol. Can't speed it up anymore. It's just dumb. Flicker strike damage up. Focus can no longer recover during its effect. Crossblades damage buff. General's cry damage nerf. Glacial hammer damage buff. Ground slam damage buff. Heavy strike damage buff. Hex blast damage buff. Ice crash damage buff. Whispering ice storm damage buff. Potentially. Actually. Infernal blow buff. I wish this was a slam skill so we could use it with the totems and be able to stack the infernal blow, charge things up on enemies really quickly. That'd be awesome. Lacerate damage up, lancing steel damage up. Yeah, everything damage up. Lightning air is getting a change. I think it has a visual change as well. It's getting rid of increased effective lightning ailments, and now shock enemies is dealing 100% more damage, up to 290% more damage. To account for it. Lightning Spire Trap is buffed. It's going to be really good for leveling again. Lightning Strike. Damage buff. Lightning Tendrils buff. Molten Strike. Got a buff. Maybe. Support gems are going to be interesting. Perforate. Still stupid, awkward of a skill. Reap grants blood charges when triggered. I think a new skill, Battle Mage's Cry with Reap will be really cool. Reeve, damage buff, Rolling Magma, Seismic Cry. Yeah, all the damage is gone from this, but they didn't put the AoE part on Seismic Cry. Seismic Trap, they're still trying to make that a thing. Big numerical buff, though. And AoE increase. Shield Charge. Shields might be a thing now. Shock Nova is like Ice Nova now. It doesn't pulse outward. Sigil of Power light nerf. Soul Rend damage up. Yeah, Soul Rend will be cool. Thinking like, what is it? Cyrus Shards. Cyrus Shards with Soul Rend, if that works, would be amazing. I've never played Soul Rend. Smite damage buff. Smoke Mine is like rest in peace. 5-second cooldown. Ugh. Shield charge. Whirling Blades, the other way. Deep Slam. Arc. Damage buff. Spectral Shield Throw, big change. I don't care. Spectral Throw, damage buff. Split out. Increased base attack speed. Footing Steel. Damage buff. Static Strike, damage buff. Base Radius. Storm Burst. Increased by 2 at gym level 20. Storm Call, damage buff. I don't know if the aggro range of Chaos and Flame Golem is a perfect buff. Only 10% action speed from the Harbinger of Time stuff. Golem stuff. Thunder damage increase. Sweep damage increase. Number of targets that Sweep can hit has been increased to 100. Tectonic Slam is going to be awesome with the totems on Chieftain. Vigilant Strike. Okay. More damage. Whirling Blades. Wild Strike. No longer choose the same element twice in a row. Ball Skill Balance. Buff, buff. All Double Strike has a maximum of 8 summon doubles at once. Like 4, I think. Damage buff there too. I think Vol Glacial Hammer. Yep. Vol Ground Slam. Damage nerf, and it no longer can perma stun bosses. Or it no longer is guaranteed to stun. You have to actually hit the stun threshold. But you can stack stun threshold, and it does work pretty well. Vol Reeve, Vol Lightning Strike, damage up. Vol Spectral Throw no longer fires 8 additional projectiles, no longer fires projectiles in a circle, now fires 8 projectiles in each of 2 mirrored spirals. Now stores up to 1 use. Damage nerf on it. That's gonna be completely new. Okay. Support gym balance. Quality on added cold changed. Mana multipliers on everything, or cost multipliers on everything are like going up. Damage nerf on added fire. Awakened added fire. Additional accuracy, increased cost. Additional advanced traps, increased cost. Ancestral Call now gives damage on quality instead of speed. Light nerf to Awakened Ancestral Call. Arcane Surge no longer gives cast speed, no longer gives flat. Mana regen, it gives percent. It's a big nerf to recovery. Archmage, big nerf. AoE. like alternate quality changes there. Arrow and Nova increased cost. Projectile damage instead of attack speed on quality there. Projectile damage instead of attack speed on Awakened as well. That sucks. List of Totem. Less damage. At top end, barrage support. Quality change from speed to damage. We can blasphemy no longer. Quality no longer gives. Oh, but it does get it back at level 5. Okay. Blast Chain Mine, increased mana cost and less damage. Blind, increased cost. Bloodlust, damage nerf, 30%. Bloodthirst, 50% nerf with cost increase. Bone Chill, cost increase. Enemies chilled by supported skills take 10 to 20% increased cold damage over time. Okay, so it no longer does that for Cold Dot. Doesn't work with Cold Dot at all anymore. Bone Chill. But it does give more cold damage now. But still see some use. Glacial Cascade. Glacial Hammer. Ice Spear. Even Ice Shot, maybe. Brutality, 30% nerf. Same with Awakened. Burning damage, 25% nerf almost. Awakened burning damage, same. Quality doesn't give the 10 fire dot multi anymore. Cast on crit, plus damage. Same with Awakened. Cast on death, no cost reservation multiplier. Cast on damage taken has a 250% mana cost. That's gonna happen every time it goes off. Cast while channeling. No longer gives more damage, I guess. Chain. Getting the quality changed for the better. The projectile speed's getting chain range, which is good. And Awakened Chain is getting a damage buff. That's good for Exsanguinate. You're gonna have to pay the freaking life cost though, but you don't play Spellslinger with Exsanguinate because of the life cost. It's because of the freaking 0.8 cast speed on Exsanguinate. Chance to bleed, damage nerf, close combat, damage nerf. Okay, so this is just a flat 20 instead of scaling 4%. Okay. Hold pin. Buff at low end, slight nerf at top end. Hold pin's still fine. Glacial Cascade, it's gonna be good. Minor. It'll still kill the bosses. You build it right. Hold the fire, increased cost. Combustion, increased cost. Less chance to ignite. Fire damage nerf. And Resistance is now set to -10. Doesn't scale. Nerf to conk effect. Control destruction. Now causes supported skills to have 80% less critical strike chance. So it's like skills do not crit with this. That's fine. It'll still work fine for vortex builds that use something to proc elemental equilibrium. Slight damage nerf. Not bad. No longer gives cast speed. Cruelty, damage nerf, calling strike. Quality change, damage on full life. Less damage. Deadly ailments. Less damage. Big less damage with hits. Wow. It's almost like only useful on corrupting fever now. Feels like. Because it's not going to be good for poison at all. The less damage with hits. Unless that doesn't affect the damage of the poison. Interesting. Efficacy is now just increased duration. No longer gives spell damage. I think it had increased damage over time as well. I don't think that's gone anymore. I think that's just not mentioned here. It's probably still there. Elemental Army. Damage nerf. Elemental damage with attacks. Big nerf. Holy focus. Sizable nerf there too. Elemental pin, slight nerf, top end. Low end's fine. Power increased cost. Learn charge or melee stun. My goodness, like everything's nerfed here. Except the penetrations seem fine. Chains seem to get a buff. So like when you find something like that, it's just like you gotta keep going through it, right? Fist of War, big nerf. Fortify. Big damage nerf. No longer Fortify effect, it gives duration on quality on the anomalous. Awakened Generosity is changed to have level 5 for the +1. GMP no longer gives attack speed. Does projectile damage. I liked this quality. Cost, because mana cost went down. Greater spell echo. 30% more damage per repeat. Slight nerf there. That's Pledge of Hands. Volley, Hex Touch. Oh, greater Volley is lower cost. Hex Touch, higher cost. No longer gives additional curse. Does that affect my one that I have? I have. Awaken Hex Touch. Support skills apply additional curse. Do I just lose it? That would suck. High impact mind, cost increase, less damage. Hypothermia is big change. No longer affects full damage over time. More damage with hits and ailments against chilled enemies gets lowered. Plus 20% chance to freeze enemies which are chilled. So this is good for hits. Still good for Glacial Cascade, Glacial Hammer. Ignite Prolif. Big damage nerf. Immolate cost change. Impale. 60% chance, that's up. Impale effect is down. No longer give us fizz damage. No longer with the fizz reduction either. Big change there, but it's slight buff to chance, making it much easier to get that chance up. Crit damage has received a big buff. It strikes. Always with the +2 chance. That's good. Gonna be necessary, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Use channeling. Damage nerf. Totems. Oh, can no longer support totem skills. That sucks. That was so good for Flame Totem early leveling. Rip. Inspiration. Nerf. Intensify. Nerf. Iron Grip cost. Iron Will cost. Up. Less duration. This has a quality change. The duration of ailments. Increased. LMP. Grip attack speed and cast speed. Projectile damage. Lesser poison changed to poison. Rename chance to poison. Lightning pins, fine. Life gain on hit. Life leech costs. Life tap. Increased cost. Which is fine. If you're playing with life tap, that's easy. Nerf to maim. Melee fizz. 10% less attack speed. Quality on melee splash is halved. Minefield big cost upgrade. Minion damage. 20% nerf. Minion life speed. Multiple traps. Cost change. Multi-strikes can support melee totem skills. That's awesome. But the less attack damage is higher. No attack speed on Awaken multi-strike quality, but the damage is still there. And totems would use it. Like Awaken multi-strike is still going to be stupidly expensive. Nightblade has increased effect of elusive. Elusive from supported skills also grants big crit multi. Oh, that was always there, but it's a buff. Nightblade gets a buff. Onslaught, Fist to Lightning, Pierce, cost changes. Endpoint. 30% nerf. Poison Ram to Critical Strike Affliction. It's on hits with crits now. But big dot multi on it. Power charge on crit, cost change. Predator, big damage, like half. A little over half. Pulverize, less damage. Rage, cost change. Ruthless, big nerf. Second Wind doesn't exist anymore. It increases freaking cooldown recovery rate. So it's gonna make the already bad filling movements, like spell movement skills, make it feel worse. But you get an additional charge. Shockwave, cost change, slower projectiles, cost lowered, less damage, spell cascade, less damage, can now support skills with the minion gem tag to affect casting them, but still cannot modify the skills of minions. Okay, so that means you can spawn multiple minions at a time with that. Now, spell echo. Lowered the cast speed on it. Well, it's 10% less damage, but Awakened Spell Echo now has 20% less damage. Speed's like, Awakened Spell Echo looks bad. Okay. Spell Totem. Damage buff. But less cast speed. Swift Affliction. Now has less duration instead of reduced duration. So that's a big nerf to that. Let alone the nerf to the damage and the increased cost. Swift Brand. Big nerf. Plus attached duration might be a buff, I don't know. Probably weighted, that's a good thing. Trap and mind damage. Less trap throwing speed instead of reduced. Trinity. Oof. That's a nerf. About ailments. Big nerf. But increased effective non-damaging ailments. Big increased effective non-damaging ailments. Awakened leash. Damage. Vicious projectiles. Less damage, but it still works the same. Big less damage on Vile Toxins. So, Poison got 50%, but Vile Toxins got cut by 50%, so it's like the same. Okay. Yeah. Vile Toxins is still okay. Just like offset by the damage change to poison. Noid manipulation. Small nerf. Word skills deal no elemental damage. Okay. But the downside was increased, so the damage wasn't nerfed as bad. Alright, passive tree balance. I'm not reading any of that. Ascendancy balance. Hierophant gets 50% reduced effective non-damaging ailments while you have Arcane Surge instead of immunity, which is fine. You get these nodes on the tree. This is 50. If you get all of these, that's 50% reduced ailment effect. So yeah, then you're just ailment immune still, and you get +1 max res. Inquisitor, Pyre's Path no longer gives element immunity, and Conk Ground no longer gives increased crit chance. Rip Inquisitor. player had the names of ascendancies changed. Small passives prior to and up to unstoppable here no longer have fortify effect. Now give damage while you have fortify. Master Alchemist no longer gives elemental ailment immunity. No longer has 40% increased elemental damage. Now grants remove elemental ailments when you use a flask. And the damage is gone. Poisons you inflict have 20% chance to deal 100% more damage, down from 30. Still has the prolif. Avatar the Veil on Raider is now 50% chance to avoid ailments. So now to get ailment immunity, you have to get all of Crystal Skin. Just like Hierophant, which is not bad. You get 1+1 max res, and you get some ally res in here too. And 5% chance to avoid damage from hits. Elemental hits anyways. There. Assassin. Oh wait, Rapid Assault no longer gives the 50% increased fortify effect. And small passives 2 and after Quartz Infusion are now elemental damage instead of movement speed. So if you take the full onslaught wheel, you're getting 130% onslaught effect instead of 180. So this is a minor change. And a buff to the later 2 nodes as well. Noxus Strike, no longer damage multiplier for poison on Assassin. Increased duration for each poison you have inflicted recently is now capped to a maximum of 100%. Toxic Delivery now as poison you inflict with critical strikes deals 25% more damage, previously 50, so that's cut in half. So that's another like cut in half on. So that's a nerf to Assassin poison overall, even though poison's getting a buff. Elementalist changed to no longer gives increased effect per summoned golem. It now gives 100% increased effect of buffs by golems. And Elementor no longer has 35% chance to avoid ailments per summoned golem. Okay. Inquisitor no longer has immunity to ailments while on constant ground. Now has effects of constant ground Great Linger on Ascendant. Pantheon Balance, 20% reduced effect of curses. This is going to be stupidly valuable. This league, for sure. Corrupted Blood can't go above 5. But doesn't have the blind and maim stuff anymore. That's now on Garukhan instead of the movement speed if you haven't been hit recently, which is cool because you can move faster in your hideout. Item balance 21-23 quality gems are only acquirable from incursion now, aside from divination cards. Outside of that, you can only get 21-20s. You can no longer find level 2 or higher in power, enhance, and enlightens. So they're all going to be starting from level 1. That's fine. That's like 6% of the freaking grind. Big buff to the implicits on Fugitive Boots, which were Blessed Boots. So big Chaos Res there. And Amethyst Ring got a big buff to the Chaos Res. So that's going to be huge for Shav's builds. And the new skill that makes you take chaos damage. Can't get multiple veiled mods on an item. Veiled mods are no longer considered crafted mods. You can no longer get onslaught on kill on abyss jewels. That sucks. Reduced flash charges used from synthesis mods, as well as fortify effect, can't roll anymore. Veiled mods for the fortify effect during focus have been like extremely gutted. Crusader Influence Helmet Fortify effect can no longer roll at all. No Essence of Horror Fortify effect. Now 15 to 25% chance to crush, which is interesting. Shaper Influence modifiers that granted reduce effective curses have been increased to match the values for the similar Crusader Influence ring modifiers. So, reduced effective curses on Shaper and Crusader rings. It's going to be something you're going to be seeking this league. 100%. You have to get reduced effective curses. Or you're going to die to curses. 100%. No matter what build you're playing. For real. Curses. Avoid ailments on Shaper boots has been lowered. Veiled mods on chest armors for avoid ailments and stuns has been lowered. Same for gloves, helmets. Increased mana regen if you cast a spell recently has been big nerfed. From boots enchants. Poison duration and socketed gems supported by poison can no longer roll. They're now supported by critical strike affliction. Quicksilver Flask charge change. Diamond Flask has increased critical strike chance, no longer lucky. Ruby Flasks, Ruby Sapphire Topaz, increased duration and less charges. Quartz Flasks down to 6%. Granite Flask cut in half. Jade Flask cut in half. Stibnite Flask, big cost increase. No longer invasion rating. Gives 20% more evasion rating, which is cool. To make it more like the Basalt. Now requires level 40. Still give us blind. Basalt Flask no longer gives additional Fizz reduction and reflect. It now gives more armor and taunts and increased duration. Silver Flask, less duration and requires level 40. Fine, you still get it in Act 5. Sulfur Flask, duration increased, charges way increased. Amethyst Flask charges, or duration increase, charges slightly increase. Aquamarine Flask got the radius increased, charges increased, 40% reduced effective freeze. So weird. Bismuth Flask charges lowered and duration increased. Enduring Flask prefix. Yikes. Rip that. That's for like on the Eternal Flasks. Interesting. It's all Flask prefix suffix changes. I'm not. Unique item balance. Mjolnir's still gonna be fine. Hate Forge no longer can affect Vol attack skills used by traps and mines. Now only Vol skills you use yourself. Salem got nerfed. Mana on Pledge of Hands got nerfed. Facebreaker changes, I believe, to work with shield stuff. Same with Doriani's Fist. Same with Rigwald's Curse. Rumi's big nerf. Lion's Roar big nerf. Wild Faith big nerf. And Series Promise big nerf. Dying Sun. Interesting. Cinder Swallow Urn. Only gets one of the 3 now. Ooh. Ooh. Ick. It's only mana, ES, or life now. Taste of Hate, slight nerf. Wise Oak. Damage reduction nerf. Slight pin nerf as well. Oh, cut in half actually. That's a little Vinkdar, probably nerf too. Witchfire Brew no longer has increased damage over time. But the charges used is changed. But its Stimite Flask got double Flask charge as well, so it's just a spare on Flask use with a stupidly small AoE. Corlitos change. Rot Gut, no longer goes increased movement speed. Now gain onslaught per frenzy charge use. That's interesting. Okay, this is a Rot Gut's cool. Soul Catcher. Yar's Determination can now roll. Makes the div card a little more interesting. Hidden Taste. Big nerf. Divination Distillate. Nerf. Blood of the Karui. Nerf. But this is going to be much better than Enduring Flasks now. Blood Elixir. Big increased charges used. Okay, but it can roll 1 to 3. Okay, so Deodra's Elixir is cool as well. You only get to use it like once though. So it just kind of rolls the dice roll a little bit, but you get a little bit of everything. Overflowing Chalice no longer has a duration. Has charge recovery down. Increased charges gained by other flasks during flask effect went down. Oh, it rolls 50 to 100. Winterheart now regenerates 10% of life per second while frozen, down from 20. Cluster Jewel changes. I'm just not doing it. I do know that a lot of the dot multi stuff is being changed. That's probably what a majority of this is. Monster changes. Act bosses drop fewer but significantly better items. Balanced ailment thresholds. Okay. That owl has been poisoned. Was changed to stay the same value with the increased poison damage. Puncture base damage has been buffed by approximately 20%. And bleeding damage by approximately 25% for all monsters that use puncture skill. No boss fights, audio, and dialogue improved. I still haven't found those. I will this league though. Okay. Harbinger bosses from Diplomatic Escort now summon fewer monsters. That's fine. Whatever. They now have more threatening skills to compensate for this. Cool. Still not the best thing to take in that region. For real, for real. Favors the brave. Abyss, Anarchy, Exiles, Domination, Nemesis, Metamorph, Ritual, and Delirium. Cool. You can now see the effect of non-damaging ailments to you and to enemies. Below their like health bar shows on the screen. Rage indicator bar updates work quickly. All cursor variations are now equipped through the UI instead of the cosmetics panel. Those free cursors, not microtransaction ones. We get new colored variations. That's cool. Alright, quest rewards for the skills. Whatever. Macross changes. Added full screen mode. Oh, you poor babies. Okay, PvP changes. Royale changes. Players now drop their items when they leave mid-game, so that's the only thing that's been changed so far, but they've still got like a week and a half on that. We'll probably see more changes by then. Alright, bug fixes. And it's over. I went through it. They did. I actually did. What the heck? Well, I guess now I'm gonna do like leveling. Leveling guides. On as many skills as I can. For League Start. I might be able to get 4 or 5 of them out if I really try hard. I know like 2 of them that I want to do. 3 of them actually. I want to do Glacial Hammer, Raider. I want to do Lightning. Lightning Trap. Sabo, leveling. I want to do Bleed, Sweep. Gladiator. With 2-handed staff. I don't know what I'm going to do for the others. I was really thinking about doing Cold Dot, but I just think it's like that. I could do Glacial Cascade, but I don't want to do 2 Sabos. They're basically the same thing. I should do something else. Maybe Ancestral War Chief. Just to get an idea of what that would look like as well. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. Later.